Well, hello, everybody. I'm actually kind of excited about today's show because you know what? We spend a third of our lives in bed, and sleep is such a hot topic. And even as doctors, when people ask us about mattresses, sometimes we really don't know because it's constantly changing. And, and poor sleep is just more about not just being about being tired, but it affects your brain, your body, your mood, and even your longevity. So let's cut through the noise, get rid of the commercials. Let's get rid of all the gossip and all the crap out there. Forget the ads. We have a real insider's guide to better sleep. Welcome to the show, Fred.
Woo-hoo. Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, Fred, let's dive right into it. What are some of the top mistakes people keep making decade after decade, day after day when it comes to mattress shopping? And why do you think they keep repeating them?
Oh, to me, the biggest thing is that they don't really invest the time to figure out exactly what they need. Especially with today's market, you can just buy a mattress online, push a button, and it'll show up at your house. But the reality of it is, the way I look at it is this: you don't have to spend $10,000 to get a mattress that's going to do a good job, that's going to support you, give you a good night's sleep, last a long time. But a lot of people will come in and they really don't want to spend much of anything to get a mattress, right? It's like if you had to take it home and park it in your driveway so that all your neighbors could see it, right? You'd spend some money on it because that's the way that it is. But it's kind of in the bedroom, under sheets, under blankets, and people just really, they kind of don't understand that. To me, here's what I think of. Sleep changes everything, just like your introduction. Sleep changes everything. Lack of sleep is deprivation. It can work with your immune system. You can get ill, like you said, longevity. So the big thing is you really have to dig deep and dive a little bit into it and have some help explaining what benefits you can get out of it and kind of go from there. That's the big thing for me.
You've been selling or in the mattress business for over 40 years and things have changed dramatically, but some things haven't changed. What's some of the questions you still get every day that you've gotten for 40 years that people just don't seem to get? Because people seem to research a car that they drive in to and from work more than they research a mattress that they sleep on 6 to 8 hours a day for their entire life. So what are some of the single biggest questions you get asked every day?
In all fairness, though, mattresses are more difficult because they all look the same.
Ooh, yeah.
When you walk into a mattress store, you're looking at all of these rectangles, and they may have different covers on them, but they kind of look the same. So it's a little more confusing. There's no aesthetic value when you're staring at a mattress as a vehicle or something else like that. So people do a lot of research, and it can be helpful. And then sometimes it works the opposite way, right? It's kind of like when you're online, you often can go down a rabbit hole and then get confused and then stop is really what happens. But the main thing is people really do want the correct thing. They want support, they want comfort, and they want longevity. That's really what it is. But when you mentioned that there's a lot that's changed and a lot that hasn't, there's a ton that has changed in the 40 to 50 years that I've been doing this. There's just a lot. Mattresses used to be all just an inner spring mattress, and you could have your choice of one of the major 3 brands that were out there at the time: Sealy, Serta, Simmons. Tempur-Pedic came along and really turned that on its head. So you're dealing now with something that doesn't even have coils or springs in it. Big changes with that. And the research that's put into that type of a mattress from that particular company anyway is amazing. It doesn't mean it's the best mattress or it's the only mattress out there, but the changes are such that honestly, I feel like there's just been so many. I mean, now you can get a bed inside a box. It comes in a little box. They can ship it to your home. It can come to us. We have them on our floor too, from all of the manufacturers that make them. But really, it comes down to people always asking, what's the best mattress? And there's no real answer to that. There's too many of them out there to be a best mattress. It's really.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Please.
No, I was just going to say, based on that, it was always interesting for many, many, many years. When a patient would ask us as chiropractors, what's the best for my back? And I would often say a firm mattress is best. But do you have a different point of view on what is the best mattress as far as, soft or a firm mattress?
Only slightly. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Firm support is by far the best. You need firm support. Mm-hmm. But what your comfort level is, as long as you've got a firm support, can vary. It depends if you're a side sleeper, a back sleeper. All of that is really important in assessing what's going to work best for you as an individual, for instance. So yeah, you definitely need the firm support, and that usually comes from a firm coil system if it's a coiled mattress. But then depending on what you want to put on top of it can give you the comfort that will work best for you or any individual, and nobody's the same.
That's a really good point. Nobody's the same. And for years we would think, firm, it fits all. But what I was fascinated over the years is that the realization that a patient might injure their back, their firm mattress actually aggravates them by morning. So they go on this mushy couch and they feel better. And then the other way around, I would have somebody who had a mushy bed and they would go lay on the floor and then their back would feel better. Mm-hmm. So I started to realize that it really deserves a lot more investigation of, like you said, the patient's sleeping patterns, Mm-hmm. So one of the questions I often ask, almost all the time ask is, do you sleep on your back, your belly, or your sides? And then I go down the list from there. How do you determine which mattress to guide someone to?
Well, it's really a similar process. Basically, we have to find a starting point and then work off of that, in my opinion. When you're talking about firmness of the mattress, you have to work in either direction off of that. And so really, when you're determining that, you have to figure out or ask the questions pretty simply is, do you sleep on your side or on your back? Usually somebody that sleeps on their back requires a little firmer mattress than somebody that sleeps on their side, because pressure relief is really important. Mm-hmm. Support is great. You need it, but pressure relief. So if you're a side sleeper, you don't want to have pressure on your shoulders and your hips as much, because that causes you to move at night more. So you want to sleep as soundly as possible with as little movement as possible. So that's it.
But hold on a second. Spencer is built like a brick shit house, and he's a very muscular. He's not tall, but he's very stocky. I'm really tall and thin, and sometimes you see even couples where the husband's big and the wife is small, and vice versa. Isn't bone structure and muscle structure also have a good play? Because you may say what's firm for the big guy may be too soft for the wife, and how do you look at those balances?
It's a challenge. It's a real challenge, to be honest with you, but that's why they make so many options with regard to. We have mattresses that are split. One side can be a little softer, one side can be a little firmer. But finding that mix, I go through this daily. Finding the right mattress for a couple where he may be 250 pounds and she could be 110 is it's not easy. And really somebody has to acquiesce somewhat, because if not, they have to have, then they're going to have two different types of sleeping surfaces. We do have some mattresses that will adjust in firmness as well, so that you can get it. You can. They're basically, what they are is they're air mattresses. The ones that we have they're really nice. They have air pods inside them, but you can make one side a little firmer and one side a little softer based on customers' needs.
I'm hearing more about that lately. Here, I got a bit of nostalgia for you. Have you sold a waterbed?
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm smiling because I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah.
I think, I had one. Maybe we've all had one on this podcast, but we did have them, but that's been more than 20 years. And they weren't the traditional water beds. They were beds with the water tubes inside them.
Baffles.
Right. Baffles and channels, and, a sophisticated water bed, not the bladder on the floor, which is what I had.
We're talking about firm versus soft, and I have to laugh because I remember going from a hard as a kid, a hard bed, and I discovered this thing called a water bed. And Fred, this was like sleeping in the ocean. It was just, you step in, you remember, right? It was.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, Terry, I felt like when I would lay in bed, I felt like the bed was hugging me. So, and it was soft, and I had the best sleep. But then as I got older, I had to get the one that was more firm. It looked like a mattress, but it was a waterbed with the baffles.
Right.
So yeah.
But a pretty good point you just mentioned is as you got older.
Yeah.
So this is what happens. Honestly, what you could sleep on when you were 20, even 30, the same person has different needs when they're 50, 60, and 70 years old and older.
Interesting.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah. That's why there are so many. There are many, many options.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like sneakers, not
yes.
Sneaker. That's what I tell patients when they're asking me about a bed. You that's like me. They go, firm mattress, right? I go, well, do your sneakers fit your wife? Do your sneakers fit that guy next to you? That kind of thing. Go ahead, Terry. What were you going to say?
Really good point.
Well, you mentioned in the very beginning that it's gotten more complicated, but people can still go online and just hit a button and have it delivered in a box. If it's so complicated, you can't just research online and hit a button on a box. This is something you spend 8 hours a day. How do you, when somebody walks into a mattress store and you said they all look the same, how do you pick a mattress out by laying on it for 30 seconds? It's such a tough concept to really, when you think about they all look the same, there's no way you can go online and pick it with a box or a button.
Well, that's done through marketing. And what I mean by that is reviews and marketing. So when it's almost like if you jump on Amazon and you're looking at two different pairs of socks or something, and one has 50,000 reviews and one has 200 reviews, you gravitate to the one that has 50,000 reviews. So there's a lot of that in this industry with regard to reviews, 5-star reviews. But the reality of it is it is very difficult. And I would tell you it's more generational. Younger generation, when we were younger, we could sleep on the floor, almost anything. So having said that, the younger generation has no problem pushing the button or pulling the trigger and buying something online, and it can be just fine. But now they are getting even more sophisticated because all the brands that we carry, you can purchase online as well. But most of them at the price ranges that they're at, if you're buying a Tempur-Pedic or a Beautyrest Black or any of these more expensive beds, people want to try them, and they do. And that's why we exist.
So you made an interesting point about a generation that, you get 5,000 reviews on a bed on Amazon versus maybe 200, let's say. But you got all these sleep influencers out there right now, and they're talking about how great a night's sleep they get, so people will just trust in that person. But there's also a lot of conversation. In fact, we had somebody, a chiropractor that did, his specialty was in nutrition, but also, remember the healthy home, Terry?
Yeah.
And like you just want to move out of where you're at because the paint, the floor, the carpet, so the beds and the possible toxic fiberglass or the mattress. What do you tell someone that's very concerned about the materials they're sleeping on?
So there's several things. One is if they're that concerned, they can certainly buy organic. We have organic mattresses. Organic is not hard to find in mattresses. But honestly, every manufacturer that manufactures mattresses in this country has to go through certifications to make sure that their materials that they put in them are completely harmless and chemically free, and no toxins in them. So it's not like it used to be. There used to be some things that were in mattresses that were not healthy for you, but that's really should be a non-issue unless you're allergic to certain things.
Interesting. So I got a really cool question for you. Years and years ago, one of these monster-sized NFL guys came up to me and told me that what would be a good foam mattress. And at the time, we were on the cusp of, entertaining this idea of foam mattress. Only foam, no springs or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went and just, obviously paid a pretty penny for a new age foam Tempur-Pedic, I think it was. And now this thing was not where it, gets shrink wrapped and comes in a box this big. This was back in the day when they just hauled this thing out to you. And he regretted it. Why? Like I said, this is a cool question. He said he would overheat in that bed. He would get so warm, and even his wife, who liked a room that was a little bit warmer, she even said, or it was his girlfriend, she even said that it was too hot in that bed. And the materials have changed, but how do you guide someone who says that they sleep hot at night, or they want something that would stay cool?
Really important, actually, because a lot of people sleep warm. So when it comes to foams, memory foams, they're pressure relieving. So they're slow compression and slow release. So you actually sink into them.
Yeah.
So when you sink into something, it wraps around you. So that creates warmth. I will say this, though, for Tempur-Pedic, in its defense, they make the absolute coolest, degree-wise, mattresses that you can purchase. They have a line called their Breeze line, Tempur-Pedic Breeze, and these mattresses are designed to keep you anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees cooler for the entire night. They put phase change materials in there that make that happen.
What is
but
that? What is that?
Phase change, that's a good question. What is phase change material? It's material that's designed to absorb and dissipate heat.
Really?
Yeah, so it's they call them breeze, so they're cooler to the touch because they can have some cooling covers on them, the material, the actual mattress ticking on top of it that adds to the coolness. But the whole idea behind it is that's one of the major things in sleeping is overheating when you sleep. That's why people are constantly taking covers off and putting them on, or right?
Yeah.
Right.
As an example, my wife sleeps with a pile of covers on her, and I can sleep with just a sheet. So everybody's different. It's just the way that it is. So in general, though, if you're not going to be buying a mattress that has that cooling technology, and nobody has it like Tempur-Pedic, there are others that have it. You want something that you will sleep on and not in. So as an example, we do a lot with mattresses with latex or coils and latex. And latex is real rubber from a rubber tree, right? So it's 100% natural as well. That's what organic mattresses are made out of. And if you can picture rubber, it's like a ball. So it's always pushing up, not sinking into. So that on top of a coil system is a real, it's cooler than something that's just has foam on the top of it. No doubt about it. So
interesting.
That's what Dr. Terry sleeps on.
Oh, very good. No wonder why he's so cool. All right. So anyway,
and rubbery.
And rubbery.
and yeah. And elastic.
Elastic, yeah. With that said, again, in defense of Tempur-Pedic, this was in the early stages of foam mattresses. And since then, they've become much more technological in their construction, because they catered to the fact that people would feel like they were sleeping in a sauna. They would get so hot. But you also mentioned something else that was really interesting, and how people would tend to sink and the foam would wrap around. Well, it's funny, that same NFL guy that I was mentioning about too. One of the problems he had was something called canyoning. I learned canyoning being that the bed would start to take the shape of your body even when you weren't in the bed. So, that it would just, create a perfect mold of you, which allowed you to sink even deeper into it. Or if you tried to turn, it would almost force you back, because it still had a mold of your body after many nights, or like months and months. So they had a guarantee that if that bed canyoned too much and caused a problem, they would have a money back guarantee. So he called the company, and they came out. Tell me if you're familiar with this. The company would come out, they would put a steel beam across the bed, and they would measure the difference. And if it was more than 3 inches or something, that was the guarantee. If it was more than 3 inches, they would totally take back the bed or return it or something like that. Are you familiar with that? Or is that an age old thing?
Oh, no, that's still a thing with any manufacturer and any mattress. And basically what you're talking about is a bed that sags, right?
Yes.
Prematurely. And that's every manufacturer has some sort of a warranty regarding that. And so as an example, once again, let's bring up Tempur-Pedic, because they're top drawer when it comes to this. They really are. So a mattress, the only thing that can happen to most mattresses, but especially a mattress that's made of Tempur material, right? Just foam, Tempur material, is that it can sag. It's not, there's no coil to poke out. There's no bulges to happen. It just basically under your weight over a period of time. So the most mattress companies have a warranty that's designed for 10 full years, and it's not prorated. meaning that that 9th year that you're on that mattress is as strong as the first day that you get it. And if it ever gets a body imprint in it, let's take Tempur-Pedic, for instance. If it ever gets a body imprint in it that exceeds 3/4 of an inch when you're not in that mattress, it's defective and they'll replace it.
Wow. Nope.
Most manufacturers with coils are the same, except for the only difference is if it ever exceeds 1.5 inches when you're not in the mattress. Just like you said, if somebody put something straight across it and they measured it and it was over 1.5 inches, that mattress is defective. And if it's within that 10-year warranty period, the manufacturer replaces it.
Fascinating.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got a question. We hear about, rotating tires of your car, and we used to hear about flipping mattresses.
Yeah.
Is that still a deal?
It's still a deal to spin them from head to toe, but is not, you can't flip them anymore. There are probably some made out there that you can, but it'd be a very small minority of the mattresses manufactured. The difference is all of the coil systems have gone to, they used to be like just a large coil system inside a mattress that would go up and down like this. Now they're all individually wrapped, pocketed coils, which is the superior way to do it. And most companies have that. So what happens though, if you have a mattress and let's say you wanted some padding on it and you had padding on the top of it, a coil system, and then padding on the bottom of it, and they're individual coils, when you're on the top of it, you're going to take those individual coils and push them down into the bottom padding as well. So you're going to actually create a deeper well when you're in that bed. So now what they do is they put just a base piece of what they call high density material foam, pocketed coil on top of that, and then all your materials on this. So that when you're on it, that coil has nowhere to go but push back up. So you don't flip them anymore. And a lot of people they still say, oh, they don't flip them anymore because they're trying to make it less expensive, right? They're trying to save money. That's not the reality.
That's too bad.
So how often do you spin them?
You should spin them realistically 4 times a year. Honestly, twice a year.
Huh.
So that's all you need to do.
Every 50,000 miles.
That's right. Exactly right.
I remember. This is how long I've been in practice. I remember the days where we would tell a patient to flip the bed, but get somebody else to do it so they can hurt their back and end up as patients.
Yeah, of course you did.
Brilliant.
And see, I went the other way.
That's marketing.
Yes, and I went the other way. It's like, well, twice a year if you're not very active in bed, and 4 times a year if you're very active in bed. So, yeah.
Well,
two different coasts.
Although it's funny because mentioning that, when was the last time you saw a commercial where kids were jumping on the bed using it as a trampoline? You don't see that anymore.
Those days are not. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
In fact, I remember a commercial when foam mattresses first came out. They would have a kid jumping on the bed, but they would have like a cup of coffee or like a pitcher
glass
of
wine,
wine. Was it? Yeah. And it wouldn't move, so it was like completely the antithesis of what the attraction of a bed.
There is no bounce.
No.
Yeah. No,
there is no bounce.
There was another question I wanted, or I've always been fascinated. Now with technology, they have beds that are smart beds that you can have an app, and it starts to get to know your sleep patterns. But then you're gonna have the flip side of that, of these people that are going, oh my God, now I'm gonna be sleeping with radiation or some type of information. I might get away from my phone. I might get away from these talking apps because that's going to cause cancer. What's the argument between a smartphone and a smart bed and a healthy bed?
Well, most of the smart beds are not in the mattress itself. It's in the what they call an adjustable base that goes below it. Instead of putting a mattress on what we traditionally know as a box spring and a bed frame. That's one of the big changes that we've seen, honestly, I'd say in the last 15 years, but really prominent in the last probably 5 to 10, is that now mattresses, almost all of them, are designed to be able to go on what they call an adjustable base. And that's where you can elevate your head or elevate your legs or both for all types of purposes. You can sleep with your legs elevated a little bit if you want to relieve a little bit of back pressure. If you have any type of reflux or anything, they have these bases now, and any mattress can sit on these. So it's not like you're looking for one that does a mattress that goes up and down. You're basically looking for any type of mattress that will work, and then you can put it on a base that will go up and down, that will adjust for different comfort levels. They have some now that have little buttons that are for anti-snore. It's designed to elevate the head up a certain degree, and I think I don't know if that's 11 or 17, I can't recall right now, but it's designed to open the airway up, right? So that you're not snoring. So there's just so many things, and yes, those applications are built usually into that base itself, and those they can monitor your sleep patterns, how long you were in REM, at what times, etc. It's usually what happens with those, and this is just from my personal experience, is they're a lot of fun, and then you don't think about them as much anymore. That's really what it is, because really what matters is, like I say, sleep changes everything. You want a good night's sleep. That's really what it boils down to.
I would have to say that sleeping or sleep has become much more of a health risk or hazard than ever before, and people are starting to recognize that. With that said, your education in gaining a quality night's sleep based on all the variables that you understand, I mean, you should be called a sleep doctor. So with that said, when a patient comes to us, we have an array of questions to ask based on their chief complaint. When someone comes to you and said, "Hey, I need a better sleep. I hurt. I have allergies. I got to share with that person that I sleep with." And it's what is your protocol when someone walks in? What questions do you ask? Can you share some of the thoughts of how you hone in on what would be the perfect mattress?
Sure. So I'm not a doctor.
I know.
So, but honestly,
you just play one on TV.
Yes, you play one on TV. But really, that process is similar, because I need to know, honestly, a number of things, a number of what I call qualifying questions, so that I can direct that customer or person to what is going to help them the best. And it starts with what they're on. What have they been on? Is it just old? Is it bothering them? Is that why they need to make a change? And then it's the questions really go into: are you a side sleeper? Do you sleep on your back primarily? It's another critical element to that, honestly, is you have to have even the right pillow.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Yes.
Really, really have the right pillow. And so when what we do is we take the same pillow to different mattresses when they're trying them, so that, because it's critical. A softer mattress on a pillow that has any size to it at all is going to be too tall, because a softer mattress you're going to sink into and it's going to push your neck up. Firmer mattress. So you have to try. It's really a marriage, a mattress and a pillow. There's no doubt about it. But really, it's finding out what doesn't work. In my opinion, it's always that process of what doesn't work, more than you're never going to walk into any mattress store, lay on a mattress and say, "This is the only mattress for me." It never works that way. It can't. There's too many options and choices. But spending time on the mattress is critical when you're in the store, because let's face it, you're not spending a night there, but you have to spend some time on the mattress in the positions that you sleep. You have to wear loose clothes, right? Not a shirt and tie. Right. It's true.
Yeah, you're right.
Because that's the only way you're going to be able to, the consumer is going to be able to figure out what's working and what's not working from choice to choice.
Do you actually have people bring in their pillows and almost like their cozies that they sleep on to try things out?
You bet. Absolutely. Because they know that that's the pillow that they use at home. And if that pillow works for them, which oftentimes it's not, because we get stories of, I've got 9 pillows on my bed and I'm trying to get this figured out. But absolutely we do. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, very, very important, I would say, to make sure.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Someone comes in, they reveal to you that they have a sleep apnea machine. And, you mentioned something earlier, sometimes it's such an easy fix, but they're confined to this stupid sleep apnea machine for life. It could be their diet. It could be the fact that, like you said earlier, if you can raise that bed up a little bit at the headpiece, it could change everything for that person. Do you dive into that area at all?
If they offer it, I do. Because I'm never going to ask somebody if they use a sleep apnea machine, right? But the point is, they will often say this.
Yeah.
This is my situation.
Mm.
And the first thing I'll always ask them is, do they have a base that adjusts where you can raise your head? That's the very first thing. And honestly, I like I said, I have no idea if that will. I know it will help. I don't know that it would eliminate a sleep apnea machine, right? But it definitely can help, because a lot of times people will come in and say, I've been sleeping in my recliner now for over a year because I can't sleep in my bed. And that's, another reason to get a base that adjusts up and down, because my wife and I both have what are called split adjustables. They're side by side like this. It looks like one king size bed, but I sleep because of, I sleep with my head up. And honestly, it helps me with acid reflux. My wife sleeps with her legs up. So we sleep completely different, but side by side.
So, all right. So sleep position, aches, allergies, bed sharing. I think one of the big ones for bed sharing, having if you have another partner in bed with you, that they are very independent. I think that has become probably one of the most beneficial for those who need a customized approach to the way they sleep. I like that. It's a great idea.
And also, they even have them now. I just love talking about this, but they have them now where just the head splits. So if you can picture a regular rectangular bed like that, in the center, just the head splits. So now you can be on an adjustable bed and still have the rest of the bed without that split going down the center if you choose. So really, really nice.
So cool. Hey, for not to throw other places under the mat, or under the truck, but for people listening to this across the country or even in other countries, what are some advice you have for consumers when they want to go in to look at the mattress so they don't get suckered or they don't get taken advantage of?
Well, really, I always say, do your research first. You have to do your research, and that's going to involve going online. you just have to have a little bit of an open mind once you've done that, because if you've tracked down what you think is the only mattress for you and you want that, and in most stores will have those that you're looking at online. We carry so many of the mattresses that you can purchase in a box or not in a box, right? Online is be open, because you may get on that. After doing your research, you may dislike that mattress completely. So you have to try them. That's really the bottom line, in my opinion, is you have to try them.
And then you got some stores that just sell one kind of mattress. You have your Sleep Numbers, or you have your this or that, and you go in and you're stuck with one. That's always a scare for me, because well, that's the only thing they're going to push those mattresses, because that's the only ones they have in the store, versus
Correct.
somebody has a array of different stuff.
Correct. And once again, and that's another good example, Sleep Number. And there's nothing wrong with the product that they manufacture, but you're right. They only make the one, and their marketing is sensational.
Yes.
Beyond pillows, how important are sheets that go on top of the beds? And you've also, before you answer that, Spencer, he's met Clint Ober, who does grounding. So how important are grounding mattresses? That's a new technology, in grounding sheets. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's so new that we don't even have it yet. We'll be getting these late in the fall. But I'm really excited about it, because I'm fairly new to grounding, but earthing and grounding, but I'm sold on it myself. I'm a fan. I have anything that's going to help you sleep, I'm a big fan of, right? And I have currently a grounding band that I wear at night that's, I believe, has helped me sleep a lot. So I'm very excited about this, but they're coming out with some grounding mattresses and grounding sheets. And I think that anything, I'm not sure about the science of it all. I do know the idea behind it is it's designed to help you sleep better, help inflammation, right? It's designed to kind of neutralize the electricity, basically, that runs through our bodies. And I can tell you that I've been using it, and for me it works. So I can't wait to get these. I'm very excited about it. And sheets are very critical, whether they're grounding sheets or not. That's another thing that you have to investigate, maybe spend a little money on, but you definitely don't want to get. You want to get something that's there, because there's sheets that are more cooling than others, right? We do a lot with organic bamboo. Bamboo is a very cooling material, cooler than cotton. So anything that can help, anything that can aid in a better night's sleep, adults should get between 7 and 9 hours a night. I'm telling you that would be a super goal for anyone. I'm not sure we get it.
It's actually fascinating, even to me, when I get like 8 or 9. I mean, I actually slept 9 hours recently, and I thought to myself, I haven't slept that much since I was a baby. But what it does to your energy and your memory and your imagination it's remarkable, the difference. Right. After a couple of good night sleeps, so I do believe we underestimate the power of sleep. So we
do. And
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna.
No. Go.
I can't stop myself. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
No, there's too many things going on in our head for you to get 9 hours of sleep every night. It's just it right. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But the more you can get, and the better ways that can help you get that, they're critical. You're absolutely right. What it does for every part of your life.
Yeah.
Sleep changes everything.
It sure does. With that said, quality of sleep and so on. You mentioned something earlier about where we were talking about grounding and being a new technology of something that could be installed in covers or sheets or the bed itself. But, I got to tell you, it was very interesting. Maybe 15, 20 years ago. No, actually 20 years ago, I listened to a lecturer who used to take care of the cyclist Lance Armstrong. Now, everybody's got an opinion about Lance Armstrong, but the lecturer was talking about a grounding sheet that he would wrap Lance Armstrong in when Lance would, sleep during the Tour de France, or that he would wrap around. So that technology, they would plug it in the wall and wrap that it almost looked like foil. And yes, it was something that was going on way back in the day, as grounding had a debut even before that, but now it's becoming more vogue and, something more fashionable.
It is. And it's interesting because it's when I think about this, I don't know how many people that are just coming in looking for a mattress are going to, if they don't know about grounding, go that direction. But I will tell you that there are a lot of people out there that we don't know about that do know about earthing and grounding. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a huge boon and bonus to them. I really do. So, and then that's how things grow.
Yeah.
Then the more people that know about it.
Right.
So yeah, that's interesting. We have the company that's coming out with it has a grounding mattress, and then their sheets are made with graphene infused into them. So what happens is that's the conductor for the grounding material. So basically it will neutralize that energy. That's the electricity.
Wow. Yeah.
Really cool.
Definitely.
But they feel phenomenal too. The sheets are great.
I was wondering about that. So I'm going to ask you about, some maybe thoughts on just how you can transform someone's sleep night into something much more restful. Let me give you a segue though, because it was recent that I read something so simple and so fascinating. And that was, the bed is great. The pillows are great. The room temperature is great. But then if you have somebody you're sleeping next to, there's the fight over the blanket or the sheets. And one pulls one way, the other's pulling the other way. And the simple solution was just use two blankets, so even though you're in the same big bed. Do you have any other suggestions that have?
That's really that's the one that I always think of, because nothing's perfect, right? Nothing is perfect. But like you said, the room has to be right. Get the electronics out of there. You don't want your, the ambient phone, even though it may be turned off, you don't want it lighting up. You want to have the temperature correct in the room. Optimal for sleeping is not warm. It's cooler for sleeping. And then if you do have two people that struggle with the sheets and blankets, that's exactly what I recommend, is that they need to be separate. Because some people just don't know it, but they grab them and turn over and their partner has nothing.
Right.
So, right?
The funny thing is, we've been doing that for years. Whenever we go on vacation, if we have any bed that's smaller than a king, Michelle will always make up like it's two single beds. We always have been doing double sheets and double blankets for a long time. And that way, the person that's you're sleeping next to is always in their own, they're always fine. And I remember when I first saw her doing it, I'm like, what are you doing? She's all, well, just to keep it from pulling around if the bed's smaller. So, yeah, we've been doing that for a long time. And it's made a huge difference, especially when you travel.
So that's how you've stayed married for so long.
Exactly. That and sleeping in a completely different house with a different room and all that. But I'm just kidding. I love you, honey. So do you still have before we go on to some other fun stuff, have you seen the advancements of the coils? We talked a lot about Tempur-Pedic, but different coil systems and different beds. What have you seen change? And because when patients come to me and they start asking me sleep, I go, I just send them straight to you, because I'm like, I don't know if it's what kind of mattress is a coil better or a Tempur-Pedic better. I personally don't like Tempur-Pedics because I'm just a small guy and I just feel like I'm sleeping on a slab. Yet other people love them. So what are the boundaries between a foam mattress and a coil mattress?
So I prefer coil mattress as well, right? But that's just me. So most mattresses, like I mentioned before, now all have the individually wrapped coil system that goes throughout the bed. So what that gives you is your own individual support versus your partner's support, right? And that gives you a lot of what they call motion separation, because these coils are not connected to these coils. They're all individually put into this packet of a mattress. So what I always say is stronger is better. So the firmer coils, because they make these coils in different diameters, so that some are softer and some are firmer. So firmer is better. Then deal with the top layers to make it is the comfort that you want. Because once you have a mattress if it has a soft coil and a little bit of soft top and you think you love it, if it's not going to give you the support, you can't change that, right? You can't do anything. You can't make it firmer. If you started with a firm coil and maybe a firm top and you said this is a little bit too firm, you can always add a pad to the top of that will actually work for it, make a difference. There's no doubt about it. But when it comes to mattresses, because now they vary, it's not unusual to find a mattress that's 15 to 6, anywhere from 13 to 16 inches thick. I always say less is more. So you don't need all of that if you can get the comfort in something that has far less padding, because more padding has more opportunity to do what we talked about earlier, right? Canyoning or sagging. But the coils, I like coil mattresses because I always feel it's tempered steel and it's pushing back up. So it's always wanting to give you as much support as possible.
Interesting. You might be bringing back, we might be doing full circle with bedding now, going from coil to foam and then back to coils again. Isn't that typical of history,
Well, here's a good one. They make hybrids, and hybrids are those coils that we mentioned. And then you can get, for instance, Tempur-Pedic makes them as well. You can get Tempur material on top of that coil system. So a lot of manufacturers make what they call hybrids, and hybrids they're usually, that means a flat surfaced bed, not a quilted traditional style bed, but a flat surface bed, whether it has memory foam or latex on top of it, but coils below. So you get really a combination of that.
You know what? You just brought up something. You mentioned something. It's a word that you used that I have become very fascinated by. Temper. What is temper?
I'm sorry. I mean Tempur-Pedic material.
No, but
I'm sorry.
But no. But you said you used that term earlier. Did Tempur-Pedic come up with the name because they use a material called temper or approach?
No, the material is actually technically called viscoelastic. I use it. It's kind of a slang that I'm using because it's Tempur-Pedic and we all shorten it to temper.
Oh.
That's all it means. So it's Tempur-Pedic material. It's Tempur-Pedic. And that's their own proprietary material that they have that no one else has.
Oh, so it's soft. Okay, very cool.
So it's kind of like all memory foam is not created equal, right?
No.
There are
Yeah.
higher quality and less quality.
So I got one last question before we go to our fun thing. You'll hear people talk about these Swedish beds that they go to like a Four Seasons or a Ritz and they have these Swedish beds and they sleep so good. Is that basically a marketing thing that these high-end places bought? Do people get sucked into them? Have you ever advised people if they don't know what kind, if they go, I slept really good at this hotel and I come home, I have a crappy night's sleep. Do you ever go, well, what kind of mattress was that? Or is it more, how do you handle those questions when they walk in your store?
Well, generally, I ask if they were on vacation and how much alcohol they had the night before.
Fair enough.
There are some Swedish made. We actually have some mattresses that are manufactured here, but all the components are come from Europe. Some come from Sweden, Germany, just depending on the components that are in there. I really can't answer that. I know that there are some manufacturers. There's one that goes by the name of Heston's, and they make extremely expensive mattresses. And really, I'm sure they're phenomenally made and unbelievable mattresses. But the idea is they're designed they're so expensive. They're designed to go down generally, from generation to generation, since that word's so easy for me to say. But honestly, I kind of don't subscribe to that. I think that mattresses should be changed periodically at the longest every 10 years. That's just kind of like you, Dr. Terry.
Very good.
Hey, yeah, don't throw me into the bus. Yeah, I went 25 years.
We've known each other for 35 years, and I'm trying to think of how many mattresses you've gotten.
2.
Okay. Well, we'll let everybody else do the math.
Yeah.
Because I think once again our bodies change.
Yeah.
So we might need something different.
Yeah.
So there can be overkill as well.
Fred, we're going to engage in one of our favorite parts of our programming, and that is called the rapid fire questions. As long as you don't have to say the word generation, I think you'll do really well with this.
Generational. Okay, I'm done.
Here we go. They usually require a very brief answer, but we end up getting caught up in this conversation. But if you're ready for question number 1, so am I. You ready, Fred?
Certainly.
You've seen quite a few couples, parents, kids, and grandparents walk through your doors over the decades. What part of that whole journey brings you the most joy?
Honestly, the most joy comes from people that have been in prior. Honestly, we have customers that are so loyal. It's the best feeling ever when they come in and I can't recognize them and they say, Fred, we're back for another mattress.
Nice. Of course. Well, question number 2. What pretty much gets you out of bed in the morning and excited, beyond work? Is there something that's like unrelated to sleep that you are very passionate about?
Other than coffee, you mean? Getting me out of bed in the morning.
There's your answer, right? Yeah.
That's the short one.
Good cup of coffee.
But no, I'm a golfer and I'm an avid golfer. So that's one thing that gets me out of bed at any hour. So
golf and low back pain are synonymous. So you better have the best possible bed out there.
Absolutely. And the best possible chiropractor out there.
Yeah, there you go. That's a brief break with Dr. Terry Wood. All right. Question number 3. What is the funny? I couldn't wait to ask you this question. The funniest and most unexpected question a customer has ever asked you about sleep or beds?
The only one that I can think of up the top of my head, I can't even say, to be perfectly honest with you.
No,
because
I knew
can't do it.
That would make this show X-rated.
It would not work. It just doesn't work. But yeah, I've had that a couple of times. But honestly, we have people that fall asleep in the store.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wow. Do they buy the bed?
They buy the bed usually.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't even think about that.
It's true. It is true.
They are obviously sleep deprived, and that bed worked.
But the funny thing is, we all thought of the same question that Fred couldn't answer. We know that people have to ask those questions.
Oh, yeah.
And the simple answer to that question, though, is springs are better than foam for that.
There you go. There you go. That was a great answer there, Fred.
What's question number 4? What's one piece of business advice you got when you first started that you continue to abide by today?
So the main thing for me was in my business, you just treat your customer as like they're gold, like they're made of gold, and like their family. That's all that matters. I had somebody tell me once, if I had to take, the advice was, if you have to take it and put it in your parking lot and burn it, you make the customer happy. And that's the thing that I go by. That's my goal, is to make the customer. We're here to make them happy, not unhappy. So that's the goal. That's
good, and you can apply that to any business.
You can.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Fred.
Spence, since he pumped me up, I will tell you, in 35 years referring to him, I've not gotten one complaint, and I can't say that about any other company or any other relationship I've had. Never, not one complaint. So kudos to you, Fred.
I got to tell you, you get a feel for somebody. Before you got on this program, Terry, I was talking to Fred, and I go, man, this guy, you just feel feel good talking to him.
Yeah, you do.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
I still have one more question.
Thank you.
You're not getting away with the last question.
That's okay.
Which I have a funny feeling I want to know the answer. But question number 5 is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, really, it's not work. It's family. Yeah, that's what matters to me.
That's great.
I'm happy to have been here and helped and served and anything that I can do, but honestly, it's just family.
Oh, that's great. Well, Fred, thank you. This was a very informative and endearing show, so I appreciate you for sharing and imparting your knowledge. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Crackin Backs Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Crackin Backs Podcast. Catch new episodes every Monday. See you next time.